Hello everyone, my name is Mary, and I want to share a personal story that shaped my life in unexpected ways. Right now, I live with my father-in-law, but the road that led me here is far from simple. I once had the perfect life with Jerry, the love of my life. We dreamed of a fairy tale future together, filled with love and happiness. But, as life often does, it threw us curveballs, and what we thought would be an everlasting marriage turned into something entirely different. I was left reeling from a betrayal, not only from Jerry, the man I trusted with my heart, but from my mother-in-law, too. Today, I want to take you through the highs and lows of my journey, the love that once bloomed, the heartbreak that followed, and the strength I discovered in myself along the way. When Jerry and I first got married, life seemed perfect. We moved into our own home, a place that meant so much to me, symbolizing my independence and the dreams I had worked so hard for. I came to Canada with ambitions to study and build a career, and after achieving those goals, I bought my own house. Jerry moved in with me after we got married, and his parents lived in another state, so we only saw them on occasion. One evening, after a long day at work, Jerry and I were relaxing with some coffee when his phone rang. It was Anna, my mother-in-law. I suggested he put the call on speaker so we could both hear what was going on. "Son, can you come over?" Anna's voice trembled with worry. "Mom, what's wrong? What happened?" Jerry asked, concern flooding his tone. Anna explained that Scott, my father-in-law, had lost consciousness and needed emergency surgery. Shocked, we immediately wondered why she hadn't told us sooner. With distress in her voice, Anna confessed she couldn't handle the situation alone and urgently needed our help. This moment marked the start of a difficult chapter, one that would reveal the truth about our relationships and test our strength in ways we hadn't anticipated. Join me as I share the journey, filled with love, betrayal, and the process of rediscovering my own inner resilience. Scott was a man I deeply respected, and when we learned of his condition, we knew we had to act quickly. "We'll be there tomorrow, Mom, don't worry, just let us know if you need anything else," we assured her before hanging up. We quickly made travel arrangements and began packing. Jerry was visibly shaken. "It's going to be okay, Jerry, Scott is strong, he'll pull through," I reassured him. But Jerry's anxiety was compounded by the thought of the medical bills. He was worried about finances, especially since he didn't have much saved up. "Don't worry about the money, I've got some savings for situations like this," I told him, trying to ease his concerns. The next day, we arrived at the hospital to find Anna waiting anxiously. When she saw Jerry, she broke down in his arms. We comforted her, promising that everything would be okay. After talking to the doctor, we learned that the surgery was urgent, but necessary. Anna, still visibly stressed, asked if we could afford the costs. "We'll handle it, Anna, you don't have to worry about that," we assured her. The surgery was a success, though Scott's recovery would take time. The doctor said he would need continuous care, so we stayed close by to support them. As we prepared to leave, Anna expressed how grateful she was. "Thank you for everything, I couldn't have gotten through this without you," she said, tears in her eyes. "We're always here for you, just let us know if you need anything. We'll head back tomorrow, but keep us posted, we promised." But just as we were getting ready to leave, something unexpected happened. Anna collapsed, falling unconscious. In a panic, we rushed to her side, trying to revive her. After what felt like an eternity, she came to, disoriented and weak. "Are you okay, Anna?" we asked, our voices filled with worry. She admitted that the past few days had taken a toll on her. The stress was overwhelming, and she wasn't sure how she could manage caring for Scott in her current condition. "I don't know if I can manage everything right now," Anna confessed, her voice heavy with exhaustion. I wanted so badly to stay longer and help, maybe even bring in extra support, but Jerry and I were both hesitant about leaving someone we didn't know in charge of such an important responsibility. But how can we leave Anna to rest and still make sure Scott gets the care he needs? I wondered aloud, the dilemma weighing on me. Should we stay until they're both back on their feet? My work can be done remotely, but Jerry, your job requires you to be at the office. That's when I came up with an idea. What if I stay behind? Once Scott's fully recovered, I'll head back. Anna hesitated, clearly worried about putting too much on me. "That sounds like a lot for you to handle alone," she said, concerned. After some thought, we agreed on a plan. Jerry would go back to work, and Anna would join him once she was well enough, leaving me to care for Scott. "I think this will work, thank you, Mary, I'm really going to miss you," Jerry said, preparing for their departure. "Don't worry about us, take care of Anna, we'll be fine," I reassured him. Once they left, it was just me and Scott. He looked at me with an apologetic expression. "I'm sorry, Mary, now you're stuck with me," he said quietly. But I didn't see it as a burden. "I'm here because I want to help you recover," I replied, giving him a warm smile. "I'll do everything I can." Taking care of Scott became my new routine. Despite missing Jerry, I focused entirely on Scott's recovery. Following the doctor's orders to the letter, I helped with his physical therapy, gave him nightly massages to improve his leg movement, and made sure his meals supported his healing. Juggling work and caregiving was a challenge, but I found strength in knowing I was making a difference. The occasional updates from Jerry about Anna kept me connected to the outside world. One afternoon, as I was preparing dinner, Scott suddenly called for my help. He wanted to sit up, which was unusual since he typically stayed in his wheelchair, engrossed in his books. Rushing to his side, I saw that his eyes were filled with determination. "Let's adjust your wheelchair," I said, sensing his desire to try something new. "I feel different today. I want to move my legs," Scott declared, his voice filled with resolve. He concentrated hard, his face tight with effort. Slowly, he attempted to move his legs. My heart swelled with hope as I watched him struggle but make progress. "Take it easy, Scott. You don't have to overdo it," I cautioned, watching him closely. With a tremor of effort, Scott managed to lift his legs slightly. It was a small victory, but to us, it was monumental. "Look at you, Scott," I exclaimed, my voice full of pride. "Your legs are moving, even if it's just a little. That's incredible." Though tired, Scott's determination didn't fade. He tried to push himself to stand, but his strength gave out, and he sank back into his wheelchair. "I gave it my all, Mary," he said, disappointment in his voice. "Scott, you don't get it. This is amazing," I said, a smile tugging at my lips. "You haven't been able to move your legs in so long, and now you've made progress. This is huge. You're doing great, and I'm so proud of you." Scott smiled faintly, his spirits lifted by my words. "Thank you, Mary. I'll keep trying. One day, I know I'll be able to stand on my own." Days turned into weeks, and Scott and I continued his rehabilitation, facing challenges but never losing hope. His progress was slow but steady, and with each small victory, I reminded him of how far he'd come. "Remember when you first tried to move your legs?" I said one day, looking at him with admiration. "Look at you now, you're gaining strength every day." Scott met my gaze, a look of deep gratitude in his eyes. "Mary, I couldn't have made it this far without you. Your belief in me has kept me going." As the weeks passed, Scott's progress became more apparent. With my support, he was able to stand for brief moments using a walker. It was a small step, but it brought us closer to his goal of walking again. "Do you remember when you first tried to stand? And now here you are, standing with the walker. You've made so much progress," I said, beaming with pride. "You're doing it because you believe in yourself, even when I thought you couldn't. Your strength and determination have proven me wrong." Then, one afternoon, as we were following our usual routine, Scott did something extraordinary. With focused determination, he took a tentative step forward, without the walker. Tears welled in his eyes. "Scott, you just took a step on your own," I gasped, my heart racing with joy. "I can't believe it, Mary, I really felt it," Scott exclaimed, overcome with emotion. We stood there for a moment, both of us overwhelmed by the significance of that single step. It was a triumph, one we'd both worked so hard for. Over time, Scott continued to take a few steps on his own, each one a testament to his determination and our shared journey. "Scott, you're walking by yourself. This is what we've been working towards," I said, my voice full of awe. And in that moment, we both knew that no matter how long it took, he was going to get there. We were in this together. With a voice full of emotion, Scott looked at me and said, "Mary, none of this would have been possible without you. You've truly been my guardian angel." As Scott's recovery continued, he gained more confidence, moving around with increasing ease. Together, we had conquered what once seemed impossible. Our bond, forged through shared struggle, grew stronger every day. My unwavering support and his indomitable will were proof of the power of love and determination. Step by step, we faced the challenges of his recovery, and with each hurdle overcome, we found ourselves closer. As Scott's strength improved, I knew it was time for me to return to my own life. I began planning a surprise for Jerry, eager to reunite with him. With a mix of excitement and sadness, I turned to Scott and said, "Scott, I have some news. I'm heading home. Jerry doesn't know I'm coming, and I want to surprise him." "That's wonderful, Mary," Scott replied with warmth in his voice. "You've been here for me through everything. Now it's time for you to go back to Jerry and find happiness again." I thanked him, expressing how much his progress had meant to me. "I'll miss you, Scott, but I'm excited to be with Jerry again." On my last day, Scott's farewell felt like that of a dear family member. "Mary, you've been like a daughter to me. I'll miss you, but I'm glad you're going back to Jerry," he said with heartfelt sincerity. I promised I'd visit and that Jerry and Anna would be overjoyed by his recovery. With that, I left, ready to surprise Jerry. When I arrived home, Jerry and Anna were sitting together, sipping their coffee, completely unaware of what was coming. I stood at the door and declared, "Surprise, I'm home." Jerry's face lit up with joy, and he rushed over to embrace me. "Mary, this is the best surprise. I've missed you so much," he exclaimed, his arms wrapping around me in a long-awaited reunion. Anna, too, was moved when she heard about Scott's progress. "Mary, you're truly an angel. Thank you for everything you've done for him," she said, her relief evident. But as I settled back in, something felt off in the house. I brushed it aside for the moment, tired but eager to get back into the rhythm of home. However, when I went to our bedroom, my heart sank. The room was empty, furniture gone, the walls bare. Jerry, Anna, what happened to all our things? I asked, confusion creeping in. Their uneasy looks and the tense silence that followed sent a chill through me. Jerry's discomfort was clear as he took a deep breath and said, "Mary, we need to talk. While you were away with Scott, we made a decision." "What's going on?" I asked, the weight of his tone making my stomach drop. "We sold the house," Anna admitted, her voice hesitant. The words hit me like a slap. "You sold our house without discussing it with me?" I could hardly believe what I was hearing. The joy of returning home was quickly replaced by a rush of hurt and disbelief. Jerry tried to explain. "Mary, it was a great deal for us." But the more he spoke, the less it made sense. "You sold it, for yourselves," I said, the sting of betrayal cutting deep. "What about us? Our plans? Didn't you think of that?" Anna's justification rang hollow. "The house was in my son's name. We thought we had the freedom to make this decision," she said, as though my own connection to the home didn't matter. "But it was my home too," I protested, my voice shaking with a mixture of hurt and anger. "My effort, my dreams, my sacrifice. How could you just disregard that?" "We thought it was for the best, Mary," Jerry said, but his words did nothing to ease the storm of emotions inside me. "A necessary change," he added weakly, but all I could feel was the violation of my trust. "How could you do this to me?" I whispered, the pain of betrayal deeper than the loss of the house itself. I stood there in stunned silence, the full weight of their actions crashing down on me. My home was gone, and in that moment, I realized that I had nowhere to turn. With no place left to go, I reached out to friends, but no one could offer a solution. My world, once anchored by the home I'd built, had been shaken to its core. Desperate, I found myself seeking refuge with Scott, the very person I'd been caring for all this time. "Scott, I don't know where to go," I admitted, the tears threatening to fall. "Jerry and Anna sold the house, I've got nowhere left." Without hesitation, Scott looked at me with compassion in his eyes. "You're not alone, Mary, this is your home too. Stay as long as you need." In his kindness, I found a sliver of comfort amid the chaos. Scott's support was the one thing that reminded me there was still love and hope, even after everything had unraveled. Determined not to overstay my welcome with Scott, I made up my mind to find a place of my own. But just as I was about to begin the next chapter of my life, Scott surprised me with an unexpected revelation. "Mary, dry those tears. You're not homeless. It's Jerry and Anna who've made the drastic decision, not you," he said, his voice gentle yet firm. I was taken aback by his words, not fully understanding where he was headed, but Scott, sensing my confusion, shared a plan so bold and calculated that it took my breath away. The sense of empowerment that flooded through me in that moment was nothing short of transformative. Together, we weren't just devising a plan to regain my footing, we were laying the groundwork for a reckoning, a chance to take control of my future, and deliver the closure and retribution that had eluded me for so long. The idea that my husband and his mother could betray me for financial gain left me reeling, but Scott and I weren't about to let them get away with it. He quickly reached out to an old college friend, explaining the situation and sketching out the details of our plan. As they spoke, the phone rang. It was Anna. With a knowing look, Scott put her on speakerphone, a hint of mischief in his voice. He was anticipating her words to play right into our hands. "Hello, dear. We've heard about your recovery, and we're thinking of visiting soon. We would never abandon you." Anna's voice came through, dripping with false concern. Scott couldn't help but laugh, his amusement spilling out uncontrollably. "Anna, I never realized how deep your selfishness runs. Your manipulations won't work on us anymore," he said, and I joined in. The shift in our dynamic unmistakable. What had once been a power imbalance now felt like the beginning of a deliberate counterstrike. Anna, clearly taken off guard, lashed out. "Mary, I can't believe you'd go behind my back like this," she fumed. Scott, with unshakable resolve, responded, "Mary is like a daughter to me. What you and Jerry did was wrong, and now you're going to learn from it." As Jerry's voice echoed through the line, it was clear he was starting to feel cornered. "Remember, Dad, I'm your son, but we still have Mary's house. We could buy it back," he suggested, unable to grasp the gravity of what had just happened. Determined to reverse what he thought was a misunderstanding, Jerry immediately contacted the new owner of the house, only to find himself speaking to a representative. When he requested to speak directly to the owner, his calls were met with nothing but a busy signal. His frustration mounted as he tried and failed to make contact. "We should feel sorry for him," I said quietly, knowing that his efforts were futile. Scott, with a knowing glance, added, "Maybe it's time to stop trying, son." But Jerry wasn't ready to give up. "I'm not done yet," he insisted, still believing he could fix everything by buying the house back. "Jerry, you might want to listen to Scott on this one," I said, watching as the realization began to dawn on him. Confused, he asked, "Why do you know the owner?" Scott's response was nothing short of a bombshell. "Actually, I'm the owner," he revealed, his voice steady. Anna and Jerry were speechless, their disbelief palpable. That's impossible, you can't do this to us, they protested, but it was too late. Scott had been steps ahead the entire time. I knew about your plan to sell Mary's house while she was here helping me, and Anna, I knew you weren't really sick, you just didn't want to deal with me. I overheard your conversations in the hospital. How could you be so careless with the feelings of your wife and your father? His disappointment was evident as he continued. As soon as I found out about the sale, I had one of my employees purchase the house. Now you can't buy it back, no matter how much money you offer. Scott's voice was filled with quiet fury as he added, why, Anna? Why, Jerry? I thought we were family. Greed gets you nowhere. I hoped better values were instilled in you. The apology from Jerry came fast. I'm sorry, Mary, it was a mistake. Please, forgive us, he pleaded, but his words felt empty. But the damage had been done. He's not a child anymore, Anna. He shattered my trust and our vows. I can't forgive that, I said firmly, knowing some betrayals were simply too deep to forgive. Jerry begged for a second chance, but I turned to Scott, seeking his counsel. He nodded knowingly and said, some things never change, Mary, it's time to move on. I know, Scott, that's why I can't go back to him. I've found a real family here, and I don't need anything else from them. It's time for me to move on from selfish people, I declared, my resolve unshakable. With that, Jerry and Anna finally understood the consequences of their actions. There were no more arguments, no more attempts to justify their betrayal. They had sought to leave me with nothing, and now, ironically, found themselves in a precarious position of their own making. As the call ended, I looked toward the future, filled with a sense of peace and strength I hadn't felt in a long time. I was ready to begin a new chapter, one built on honesty, trust, and genuine care, far from the selfishness and deceit I had once known.